Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Crypto, Coffee and LoFi. Before we get started, a special thanks to the sponsor for this series, Delta Exchange. If you click the link in the description below, sign up with them. It helps us out, helps us stream out. I make these videos for free for you guys every week, so if you could go over there, sign up, that'll be helping us out a lot. So it's been a few days since I made a video, but nothing has really changed. If you've missed out on the few live streams that I've done over the last couple of weeks, make sure that you keep notifications on for my Twitter and for the free Discord that I've started up. Anytime that I go live, I usually give about an hour or 2 hours advance notice. I don't really like to plan it out too much in advance. It'll usually be on a Friday night or Saturday night AEST. No worries, so just jumping into it, if you are new here, I'm essentially just using one pattern and one pattern only. I use that pattern to find accumulation and distribution in the market, support, resistance, and then that same pattern again as an entry and exit trigger. So what is that pattern? Essentially, if I'm looking for a long, I look for a key low to form. I then wait for that key low to be swept. Once that key low is swept, I wait for a break up above the high that was responsible for taking the low. Alright, once we get the break above, I look for a close above this level. Once we get that close, I then look for price to revisit the range between the high and the low, where I then look for the same pattern to form again. And once I get that, that is my entry trigger as long as I have obvious objectives for price to head towards. So there's two kind of objectives that I look for when I enter a position. The first objective being a liquidity based objective. So if I'm in a long, I will look for an obvious double top that hasn't yet been breached, because there's liquidity above there, so price should be attracted to this area as long as price is also accumulating at the same time. Alright, the second objective is a range based objective. So double tops obviously would lie on the outside of a range, but on the inside of a range, if I'm long, all I would be doing is looking for, if I'm long based on accumulation. So a target inside the range would be distribution. So let's say price distributed up here, we form the double top, we broke below, and then we form the entry trigger to get short. Let's say I'm not short though, price travels down, and then we start accumulating, and then I see the entry trigger. Let me just get rid of this really quick. That would be my trigger to get long, and then this previous area of distribution, all in here, would be my target for the long. So here would be my trigger, and then here would be my target. So those are the two kinds of objectives: liquidity based objectives and range based objectives. Okay, so if you haven't been watching the last few episodes, make sure you go and watch them. I have been saying for a little while now that I am bullish on Bitcoin until accumulation starts to break. When accumulation starts to break, all it's telling me is that buyers that were interested in buying at a certain area are no longer interested. Okay, so, and that's how I determine support and resistance as well. So you can see down at these levels, we have a sweep followed by a break. Here's the high that swept the low, and then we return to this range. We get a sweep and a break, and then return to this range, a sweep, break, sweep, break, right? So here is accumulation, but you can see all within this leg, we don't have any accumulation at all. So even if all of these levels break, which they did, to me, that doesn't indicate that support is breaking. What it indicates is that price is revisiting previous areas of accumulation. So now that we've revisited these areas, all I'm looking for now is for price to continue accumulating. So I am in a long position based on this setup here, sweeping out a low, breaking above the high, turning to the range, sweeping out a low, breaking above the high. So here's my entry, my stop right below this low. I'm in a swing long, so I'm looking for all of these highs to be taken out. You can see that throughout this whole top here, there's no obvious distribution, meaning to me that if we do get accumulation here and we do continue up, that the move up to this range right here won't be a retracement, that it will end up taking out all of these highs. So really, Bitcoin, we're sitting at higher time frame resistance, and it's pretty much the same thing for every other coin. So I'm not really in a position where I'm keen on entering a higher time frame short, but also entering higher time frame longs is risky because we could just chop about. So now that we have swept all of these lows here over the weekend, if we can get a long in here, then I will enter. There is a possible short scenario as well because we have taken out Monday's high, so I'm going to point that out. So I am long on the higher time frames, nothing really here on the lower time frames yet. So taking out that high by $1 or $2, and I believe this is Monday's high. So this really isn't looking too bright on the lower time frames. If we get something like this followed by a further breakdown, then I'll probably shave some of my swing position, and then I would assume that we head somewhere inside of this range. If we head inside this range and don't accumulate and continue down, then I think we take this low here. Once we take that low, I think the next obvious objective is all of these equal lows right here, taking me out fully of my swing position. If we don't accumulate below those lows, so if we don't get something like this below these lows, then I would assume we take out this low here. Then you have to ask yourself, once we do start to invalidate all of this accumulation, it's saying that buyers are no longer stepping into the market. They're no longer interested at these levels. Where are the next levels of support? There's no accumulation in this zone. That tells me we would at least visit below these lows. So like I've been saying for the last week or two now, we are sitting at accumulation, but it is looking quite shaky. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most of the other majors are standing on their last legs. So yes, hopefully that wasn't an overload of information. Go back and watch the last few minutes, everything I just said a few times, and you should be able to pick up on it. But for my higher time frame swings, I'm thinking DOGE. So you can see we swept out this key low here, breaking above the high, then sweeping out this low here, and then breaking above the high and getting a solid daily close yesterday. Elon has just bought out Twitter, so I would not be surprised if he somehow integrates Doge payments into that, and if that is the case, then we should see a leg up. But regardless if he does or doesn't do that, I think there's a lot of speculation in the market right now. So I think as long as I'm seeing the setups on the chart to get long, that those should be a solid buy. I wouldn't buy where we are right now. I'm in from about 1350. If we get a revisit of this level, see this is the high that swept all of these lows, and we get some more accumulation in here, then I think you could enter targeting this high, and then obviously we have all of these highs and all of these highs further up. But we'll just have to wait and see. I think there is a lot of speculation and the chart is lining up with a long, so I could be wrong, but I'm just going to take that position. The other spot would be near. So you can see taking out this low, breaking above the high, returning to this range here, taking out this low, breaking above the high, taking out all of these lows as well, and breaking above this key high. So yesterday we took out these equal lows and we started to reaccumulate, which is a good sign. A false break out of a trend line into an area of liquidity and previous area of accumulation is normally a good sign. So I ditched my shorts from up at 1670-ish, and now I've jumped into a long. Really hoping that we continue to break structure here. So if we get something like this today and then more breaks followed by more accumulation, I think we're good to head up, taking these highs, this high, and this key high as well. We'll have to wait and see. We could obviously continue to break down, but I think in my opinion it's a play worth taking, so that's what I'll be doing. What else? TRX. So there is some news coming out for TRX. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I know it's something to do with staking. Don't take my word for all the fundamental stuff. That's not really my area of expertise. I just trade this pattern. But we do have some news, and it looks like from my perspective that players are accumulating. So that's a good sign. Taking out this low, breaking above the high, returning to the range, taking out this low, breaking above the high. So those are my few setups for today. Like I said, everything is pretty much sitting at higher time frame support on its last legs. We are still accumulating, but if that accumulation starts to break, then I think we do see a violent move to the downside. No worries, guys. If any of this is interesting you, or any of the way that I'm trading is interesting you, you can click the link in the description below and pick up a copy of the strategy. And of course, I have like over 100 YouTube videos that are for free that you can go and watch as well. And then we have the indicator up here. Essentially, the whole idea of the indicator is you turn this on and it automatically prints all of these patterns out for you. So if you want to learn this, a price action based strategy, then that is a tool to help you out. Anyways, guys, like, comment, subscribe, leave me some feedback in the comments what you want to see. Make sure you join in for the live streams too. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.